Back in the 1950s, as the school bell rang out across the playgrounds and the scent of fresh chalk floated on the air, there were certain objects that every child knew intimately. These were the everyday items that filled our classrooms and shaped our experiences, yet, after the school day ended, they often faded into the background of our memories, long forgotten. Today, let's take a stroll down memory lane. Join me as we count down 8 school day objects from the 1950s that every child touched and nobody kept. At number 8, the wooden desk. Picture it for a moment. A sturdy, time-worn structure, often scratched and marred from years of restless hands and eager scribbles. Each desk came equipped with a small inkwell hole, a relic of an earlier time when fountain pens ruled the day. You remember those moments in the classroom, don't you? Trying carefully to avoid the ink stains that could ruin your favorite shirt. The wood felt cool and solid beneath your arms, an anchor in those swirling seas of learning. Classmates might have carved their initials into the surface, claiming a tiny piece of space as their own, but those inscriptions have long since faded, just like many of the memories from those days. Next, at number 7, we have the pull-down map, a colorful tapestry of the world that hung above the chalkboard, waiting to be unfurled like a story eager to be told. Do you remember the thrill of seeing the geography of a land you only dreamt of? With each pull, the crisp sound of paper being released echoed softly in the room, revealing iconic adventures through forests, deserts, and bustling cities. The edges of the map often curled, the colors a little faded from years of sunlight streaming through classroom windows, yet each line drawn and each name written held secrets and stories, weaving a sense of wonder in our young hearts. At number 6, let's not forget about the humble milk crate. Delivered to the classroom door early in the morning, it brought with it a chill that cut through the warm air of the classroom. Each day, on the edge of the desk, you could find those small glass bottles, the creamy milk beckoning you to take a sip as you eagerly anticipated lunchtime. The whisper of excitement mingled with the scent of the paper lunch bags, all of which told tales of homemade sandwiches and fruit tucked inside. While they may have seemed ordinary at the time, those little crates became vessels of nourishment during long afternoons. Sliding into number 5, we remember the mimeograph sheets. Oh, how they filled our backpacks with vibrant, purple ink. The chemical smell still lingers in my mind, creating a nostalgic haze. The click, click, click of the machine as it whirred to life during late nights at the school. When you would receive that paper, freshly printed and warm to the touch, it felt like receiving a little piece of magic. It bore lessons and stories, doodles and ideas penned down on purple sheets, though they were often tossed aside after a quick glance. No one could have foreseen that those fleeting moments would one day spark emotions deep within us. At number 4, we could not overlook the globe that spun beneath the light of the classroom. It was neither overly illuminated nor perfectly polished, but each scratch and fading color only added to its charm. You could trace the outline of the Soviet Union, resplendent in a soft pink hue, as whispers of Cold War tensions lingered in the air. The globe, imperfect and human, was a silent witness to our transition from childlike innocence to understanding the complexities of the world. And who didn't love spinning it as fast as they could, planting a finger down to see what country fate would choose for them to explore next? Coming in at number 3, the film strip projector claims its spot. With its metal casing and that click of each frame, it brought cinema into the classroom, showing reels of history and science that awakened a sense of awe and excitement. Oh, how we would sit on the edge of our seats as the soft whir of the projector filled the room, capturing our attention with stories that unfolded frame by frame. While it may seem simple in today's world of instant media, each frame carried a weight of anticipation, bringing us all together in shared moments of wonder and learning. At number 2, let's talk about the steel pen and penmanship workbook. These were the tools of our trade as we became artists of letters and numbers. The smooth coolness of the metal pen gliding across the pages whispered tales of untold ambition written in flowing cursive curves. In those moments, the pressure of the pen taught us discipline and patience, each swirling line lifted from our fingertips onto the workbooks. The crisp pages filled with practiced handwriting felt like a rite of passage, an essential component to our educational journey. But many lost that passion for the pen as crayons and felt tips took over our creative endeavors and were subsequently discarded to the realm of nostalgia. And finally, landing at number 1, we reach the report card, the vessel of our triumphs and trials. Remember those late Friday afternoons when you could scarcely contain the nervous anticipation? The envelope, sealed tightly, felt heavy with either pride or dread, depending on how your day had gone. As you held it on your walk home, heart racing, 1,000 thoughts ran through your mind, conjuring images of your parents' expressions upon opening it. Do you remember finding that quiet moment on the porch, the evening sun warming you as you carefully peeled back the flap? The quiet click of the damp seal breaking marked a significant shift, a moment where childhood and expectations collided. There you opened it alone, before stepping inside, weighing the future against the present just for a second longer. Each of these objects tethered us to our childhoods, evoking emotions tied to moments long since past. These school day relics shaped us, guiding our excitement for learning and our dreams of what the world could be. Though we may have let these items drift into the abyss of forgotten things, the feelings they sparked continue to linger like the scent of chalk in a sunlit classroom. You've traveled with me through these 8 cherished tokens of our youth. I invite you to share your own memories of school days gone by. Which objects stirred your imagination or held a special place in your heart? What have you tucked away in the corners of nostalgia? Let's keep those warm memories alive together. As we continue on our nostalgic journey, it's worth pausing to reflect a little deeper on the stories intertwined with these beloved objects of our youth. Each item tells not just a tale of structure and function, but a broader narrative of growing up in a time wrapped in hope and simplicity. Let's linger a moment longer with the wooden desk, that steadfast companion, often the site of countless moments of both reverie and anxiety. Many a child sat there, daydreaming of adventures while the teacher prattled on about arithmetic or grammar. Some desks even had that secret compartment, a hidden space where notes were exchanged, or perhaps a small treasure was tucked away, a crumpled-up piece of paper folded to perfection, revealing a heart drawn within. How thrilling it was to discover these secret spots! It was like stumbling upon a treasure chest filled with the essence of childhood friendships, whispers of silly jokes, or plans for summer escapades. Then, think back to the pull-down map, which wasn't just a teaching tool. It sparked our imaginations in a way that was very physical. Those moments when a teacher would pull that down and point out towns and landmarks were like explosions of adventure within the classroom walls. We could almost hear the call of distant lands, beckoning with stories of bustling markets, serene countrysides, and endless skies. When it came time for a class presentation, many of us would practice our veiled excitement by plotting imaginary journeys on that map, tracing with our fingers where we would go one day. Do you remember standing up, presenting your thoughts while your classmates' eyes glazed over with delight and curiosity? And who could forget the milk crate? Those little glass bottles of milk were more than just nourishment, they were symbols of our school day routines. Each day, the school lunch lady would set them out, the caps stamped with that iconic design and the frosty chill making your fingers tingle from the touch. You could often catch a glimpse of the condensation forming on the sides of the bottles, pooling at the base, and a bit of milk would escape from the opening as you opened it with that satisfying pop. Let's also remember those afternoons when the milk would sit a little too long on a desk, becoming warm in the sunshine that streamed through the windows. Alongside a crumbly cookie or a slightly squished peanut butter sandwich, lunch felt deliciously enchanting and was full of laughter mingling with the aroma of fresh-baked bread wafting through the air on certain days. As we pivot to the mimeograph sheets, those sheets filled with a rich, intoxicating smell and vibrant colors, it's worth recalling how the very act of receiving them felt like being handed a magic wand. The warm sheets, their purple ink still slightly smudged, often came with a light whiff of that unique chemical scent that few would dare to characterize as pleasant but nonetheless held a peculiar charm. Imagine standing with friends as you passed these papers around, eager to see who brought the best doodles or, perhaps more importantly, the most interesting assignments. It was precisely on those mimeograph sheets that some of us first collated our thoughts, whether it be a poem about the first snowfall or a science report predicting the future of outer space exploration. You could sometimes spot the slanted handwriting of a friend or even a teacher's notes. Those were the tokens of shared experiences that made every day feel bright with potential. And who could ever forget the allure of the classroom globe? That globe represented our burgeoning curiosity about the world beyond our neighborhoods. Spinning it with abandon, we'd bite our lips while it slowed to a stop, fingers landing on corners of countries we couldn't even pronounce. For many of us, those moments created dreams of future travels, whispering promises of picturesque landscapes and cultures waiting to be explored. How many afternoons were spent learning about the vast oceans, admiring the shapes of continents, and embracing the stories of historical figures poised at our fingertips? Yes, even amidst the geopolitical nuances, like the Soviet Union represented in that inviting pink, we interacted with the world first through colors and geography shapes before we began to understand history in full. And then we arrive at the film strip projector, a splendid mechanical marvel that entered into our lives, illuminating school days in magical ways. Remember that soft click as it advanced to the next frame? We would huddle together, whispering our predictions for what we'd see next, eyes wide with anticipation for a forthcoming visual treat. Each looping film strip felt like a promise, a chance to voyage through worlds and ideas that were otherwise out of reach, all housed in a simple metal casing. These snippets of historical moments through film brought the world into focus. Whether it was a glimpse into the furthest reaches of the planets or the exploration of the depths of the oceans, film strip days birthed aspirations that lingered long after the classroom doors had closed. As we approach our second-to-last object, the steel pen and penmanship workbook, it's essential to appreciate the weight placed on those small yet profound tools of communication that equipped us for our futures. The experience of writing by hand was enveloped in a certain reverence, as though each letter had the power to shape our identities. Do you remember the feel of the pen gliding smoothly on fresh paper? That pleasant resistance it gave when new ink had to be coaxed out before thoughts could be shared? The writing felt like a dance between your emotions and the page, each line penned reflecting snippets of your soul. There was an excitement in turning to a new page, a blank canvas, each letter carrying a piece of you. The steel pen, often held carefully at various angles, quickly became an extension of our fingers, channeling thoughts and ideas that simmered in our minds, often transforming into vivid expressions of our thoughts. Now, harking back to our anchor piece, the report card encapsulates everything we felt, both innocently proud and filled with trepidation, as those Friday afternoons became the climax of the week. Each sealed envelope delivered a rush of anticipatory thrill or sickening dread. Upon peeling that flap open on the porch, as you caught the dying rays of sunlight, it was more than just grades reflected on paper. It became an emotional touchstone. Remember those whispers popping into existence as you braved a glance at the grades? All those youthful splendors of long weekends, summer ambitions, and joint endeavors with friends swirled around you at that moment, nudging at your heartstrings. The familiar echoes of "I got AC" or "I aced math" rang through the air as if these reports were badges of honor that shaped our youthful endeavors. Whether it heralded victory or remorse, the envelope was a formidable bridge between childhood and the adults waiting inside. Each object taking a part in shaping our school days yet forgetting to hold on to them, as life swept them along in currents of time. The classroom transformed over the decades, and as children grew up, they exchanged these teachers of curiosity for places and practices new and unfamiliar. But those little items linger in the edges of our hearts, forever intertwined with the experiences and emotions they encapsulated. The scent of chalk dust, the buzz of a projector click, and that nostalgia for the beloved desk where friendships bloomed and learning flourished will forever transport us back to those cherished days of innocence and discovery. As I close this chapter of our rhythmic journey through memory, take a moment to reflect on a school day item that deeply marked your path. Which corner of your heart hides precious nostalgia? I warmly encourage you to share your thoughts below. Let us keep the warmth of those long-gone days alive together, stitched with memories and rich with the beauty of our shared past.